Okay, hello everyone, can you hear me clearly? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, so maybe you can get ready your third set of the TASMO paper, and today we will focus on section C as well as a few questions in section B, okay? Okay, now let's start. Well, we start from section C first. Well, as you can see for the first question in section C, using the digits 0, 3, 5, 6, and 8, how many 4-digit even numbers without repeating digits can we form? So here you can see that we have a special digit, which is 0, right? So since there is 0, and also you can see that 0 is considered as the digit to make an even number. So here we need to separate the cases. Well, for the first case, that is if you if you see the last digit is 0, so then you can see that actually for the last choice, for the last part, there is only one choice. Oh, let me check. Okay, maybe after I finish this part and wait for the other students for a while, okay? Okay, and then following this, you will see that altogether there are 5 digits, and then you just use the 1. So following this, we have a 4 and 3 and 2, right? So altogether, we have 24. Okay, I see that a few students haven't joined, so maybe we just have a pause here, okay? Yeah, let me wait for the other students. Yeah, we will restart at 4 p.m. later, Ken? Yeah, and everyone, if you wanna go have a break and go to the washroom or drink some water or take some snack, okay, now you can enjoy now. Okay, the last 2 minutes. Yeah, let's wait for a while. Okay, by the way, do you finish your sample paper? Is it very hard for you to understand? I think section A and section B should be okay for most of you, right? Okay, the last 1 minute. Yeah, later after the live stream, actually I will share the full solution in the group. Okay, Laura, let's start, okay? So here, let's start from section C again. Well, for the first part, you see that using the digits 0, 3, 5, 6, and 8. How many 4-digit even numbers without repeating digits can we form? Well, in this question, as you can see that 0 is also one of the digits can make a number to be the even number, right? So here, let's try to consider 0 separately. Why? Because you see that if I just make sure that the last digit is already 0, that is, we only have one choice for the 1st digit. Then what about the highest place? Do I still need to consider 0 here? Actually, no. Why? Because actually here you don't need to consider whether you put a 3 or 5 or 6 or 8 here. Actually, you see that every digit works. So here we still have 4 choices. Then following this all together, we have 5 digits. You already used 1 digit and the thousands place. So following this, we only have 3 choices. And to move on, we have 2 choices and multiply them together. We have 24 different ways. But following this here, what about the second case? For the second case, it is a bit different, as you can see. If the last digit is 6 or 8. Now, let's have a look. 6 or 8. We start from the most special place. So here we have 2 choices for the 1st digit. But what about the highest place? Think about it. Can we say that altogether there are 5 digits? I already used 1. So there are 4 choices for the highest place? Cannot. Why? Because actually so far you haven't used the digit 0, right? And digit 0 is very special. It cannot be used in the highest place. So in this way, actually, you must minus 0, okay? And then for the highest place, you will see that there are only 3 different choices. Then following this, what about the hundredths place? Well, just now you didn't use 0, but actually 0 is still in the leftover. So following this, we still have 3 choices for the hundredths place. Then, following this, there are only 2 choices for the 10th place. And altogether, in the second case, you see that there are 36 different ways. Yes, and then just now I clicked wrongly, so you can see the answer here. Altogether, we must combine these 2 cases. Case 1, case 2. So here altogether, we have 60 different ways, okay? Yeah, so that is why we get the answer as 60. Well, for the second one, here you can see A, B, and C each have a certain number of coins. A gives some of their coins to B and C, doubling the number of coins that B and C each have. Well, you see that for this sentence, actually it is a bit long, maybe a bit confusing. Now let's turn that into the diagram. Firstly, let's draw out A, B, C. And then please just draw out the 3 boxes to show the number of coins that each person has. Okay, then for the first part, now we know that A gives away some coins. Gives away some coins, so maybe I just write it as a minus triangle. And at the same time, you see that what happened to B and C's coins, B and C double, right? Double, what is the meaning of double? Double means times 2. Okay, and following this again, we just draw out the boxes. Then following this for the second part, B gives some of their coins to A and C. So again, what happened to B here? Okay, B, maybe I just write it as minus a star. Well, at the same time, A and C, you can see that double. Following this, C gives some of their coins to A and B, doubling the number of coins that A and B each have. So following this again, what should we do? Here you see that for C, I just write it as a minus a heart shape. And then for A and B, double. So here write it as times 2. Well, in the end, you see that all 3 people end up with 8 coins. So where should we label 8? Well, just label for the rightmost boxes. Well, following this, you see that how do we figure out the number of coins that A had originally? Well, here everyone, this is about how you work backwards. As you can see that a number times 2, then you get 8. In other words, here the missing number is 4, right? And you can get the second one also, that is 4. So could you please tell me what is the heart shape? Well, everyone, you see that from 4 to 8, that is plus 4. From 4 to 8, plus 4. So altogether, you can see that A and B has an increase of 8. And where do they receive the coins? That is from C, which means the value of the heart shape, it should be 8, okay? So following this, you see that which number minus 8 equals to 8. Then working backwards, you can get C had 16 coins before. Well, following this again, let's move on to the second part. Well, a number times 2, that is 4. It should be easy for you, right? 2 times 2, that is 4. And then which number times 2 you can get 16? Well, we know that 8 times 2, that is 16. Again, in this way, how do we figure out the value of the star? Well, again, everyone, let's just check separately. 2 to 4 plus 2. 8 to 16 plus 8. So altogether, A and C, they have an increase of 10, which means the value of the star should be equal to 10. A number minus 10, then you can get 4. Well, when you think backwards, what is the missing number? It should be 14, okay? Now, following this here, let's move on to the first part. Well, I don't know what is the value of triangle, but how can I figure out the value of triangle? Now again, let's start from the multiplication part. A number times 2, that is 14. Well, we can get, originally, B had 7 coins. And then we know that a number times 2 equals to 8, which means originally C had 4, right? Then how can we figure out the value of the triangle? Well, you see from 7 to 14 increased by 7. From 4 to 8 increased by 4. So altogether, A gives away 11 coins to B and C, right? So again, when you think backwards, 2 plus 11, originally A had 13 coins at first, okay? So this is answer 13. Yeah, so for this question, I know that some students feel it a bit confusing. Maybe you just take it like, okay, so here plus 7 and then plus 4. And after this, you just get a star, right? So actually, according to the increasing part, you can try to figure out what is the missing value here, okay? Yeah, also I saw that some students figure out the answer with another way. That is, in the end, altogether, there are 24. So after this, you should get, at the very beginning, it is also 24, right? Because they are doing some internal exchange, yes. Another way that is 24 minus 4 minus 7, also you can get 13, yes. Okay? So for such question, the type is about the working backwards, and here we just draw out the train diagram. Well, next one. When Addie's mom is 1,000 meters away from their home, Addie and his puppy run towards the direction of Addie's mom. Addie's mom walks at a speed of 60 meters per minute. Addie's speed is 40 meters per minute, and the puppy's speed is 250 meters per minute. When the puppy meets Addie's mom, it turns back toward Addie. When it meets Addie, it turns back toward Addie's mom and continues to repeat this. Assume their speeds are constant. When Addie and his mom meet up, the puppy has traveled how many meters? Well, for this question, you see that the puppy is very tiring here, right? Because he runs here, there, here, there. Well, for such question, usually we try to show it with a diagram. Let's try to draw it out. Well, firstly, we can just draw out a straight line to represent the total distance, which is 1,000 meters. And then we know that Addie and puppy, they're on one side, and Addie's mom is on the other side. They try to run towards each other, and then everyone, let me explain the workings here. Well, firstly, you see that in order to figure out the total distance traveled by puppy, so what should we do? They are very important to figure out what is the running time and what is the speed. Because when it comes to the distance, speed, time problem, how do we figure out the total distance? That is always the time multiplied by the speed. Or you can just change the position, that is speed multiplied by the time. Then, following this, how do we figure out the time? Well, you see that Addie and Addie's mom, they are working towards each other. So that is after how many minutes they can meet each other, because only when they meet each other, the puppy stop, right? So here you see that the total distance is 1,000 meters. In every minute, Addie can move on by 40 meters. Addie's mom can move on by 60 meters. So altogether, you see here moves 40, here moves 60. That is in 1 minute, they can move on together by 100 meters. So that is why I add 40 and 60 together. Then how many minutes are there? That is actually for 1,000 meters, you can distribute it into how many 100 meters. So here, with 1,000 divided by 100, we know that actually after 10 minutes, Addie and Addie's mom can meet each other. Then what about the puppy's speed? According to the question, we know that the puppy's speed is 250 meters per minute. Then we just multiply these two parts together. We get the answer is 2,500 meters. Okay? Yeah. So there is a very important conclusion, that is how do we figure out the distance? To figure out the total distance traveled by one person or animal, that is you must figure out what is the traveling time and what is the traveling speed. Okay. Then next one, this is about the number puzzle. As shown in the diagram, filling each blank in the vertical multiplication with a digit to make the calculation valid. What is the resulting product? Well, you see that this is a number puzzle with a multiplication. It looks very confusing, right? But again, everyone think about it. Which digit is very special that maybe you can find some breakthroughs? Yes, it should be digit 0. Why? Well, think about it. For the 1st digit times 2, you get a box. I don't know what is the box, but then we know that for the 10th digit times 2, then you can get a 0. So think about it. Which digit multiply by 2 and then you can get a 0? Which one? Correct, it is a 5, okay? So that is why we can confirm the 10th digit of the first number should be 5. And following this, also you can see that the 5 times 2, of course, that is a 10, right? And how can we confirm the 10th digit of the second number? Well, you see that for the final answer it is 4,000 something. So again, everyone, you can just think backwards to the times table. 50 something times what? Then you can get a 4,000. Yeah, 5 times 8, that is 40, right? So actually we can confirm that for the 10th digit of the second number, it should be 8. And then following this, actually we can confirm these 4 missing boxes. We have 5, 8, 1, and 4. Yes, again, why do we get it is 1? Because 2 times 5, that is 10, right? And how can we get 4? That is 50 times 80 something, then you can get 4,000, okay? So following this, actually you can just confirm for the hundreds place, we have 1 plus 2, that is 3. There isn't any carryover because you see that it is impossible to get 1 plus 2 and then plus 10, then you get 13, right? Okay. So following this, for the rest part, you can just figure out the answer. Why is it so smooth? Well, you see that here, for the boxes you times 2, actually there is no carryover. And then following this, actually you can just check with the even number. And then following this, the rest part should be easy for you, okay? As long as you can check, you can confirm the highest place, and then you can finish the rest boxes. So what is the answer? It should be 4,346. Well, the last question. In the following number formation, if 7,102 is the nth number in the nth row, find the value of n plus n. Well, for this question, everyone, you see that actually I just draw a small, like the pyramid below. But now you see that what is the difference? To be honest, actually they are referring to the same thing. On the top, you see that in this question, all the numbers are even numbers, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay, move on. So what about if I just divide all these numbers by 2, what can you get? Well, you will see that the number is much easier. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on 2. Okay, you just figure out some consecutive numbers. And then following this, let's pay attention to some special positions, as you can see here. In the first row, it is 1. In the second row, that is 4. How do we get 4? That is 8 divided by 2. In the third row, that is 9. How do we get 9? That is 18 divided by 2. So following this, actually everyone, you will find some special part of the last number of each row. What is it? Yes, all of them are square numbers, right? 1 equals to 1 times 1. 4 equals to 2 times 2. 9 equals to 3 times 3. So how can I figure out where is 7,102? Well, for the first thing, I should divide it by 2, right? Okay, divided by 2, then you will get 3,551. Now, we turn the question into where is 3,551 in my new number formation? How do we figure out that? Well, actually, you can just check with the last number. We know that the last number is the square number, and actually it is just the number of row multiplied by itself. If it is the second row, then 2 times 2, you can get 4. If it is the third row, then you can get 3 times 3, that is 9. So where can you find the 3,551? Here, everyone, maybe you can try to guess. When it comes to the 60th row, well, you will get 60 times 60. The last number is 3,600, right? Well, 3,551, of course, it is smaller than 3,600. But where is it? Now let's check. What about the previous row? When it comes to the row 59, you will get 59 times 59. It is 3,481. Well, you can see that 3,551 is more than that. That is why we can confirm the number we are looking for must be in the row 60. Okay, so here we can confirm row 60. But you still need to consider the column. Everyone think about it. if I already know that the last number of row 59 is 3,481. So what is the first number in row 60? Yes, you just plus 1, which is 3,482. Now, in the 60th row, you know the first number is 3,482. The last number is 3,600. Think about it. Which column is for the 3,551? So actually that is just the last number minus the first number and then plus 1, okay? Because you still need to keep the first column here. So following this, we can get actually for the nth number here, it should be 70. Back to the question. The question is asking you what is the value of m plus n. So for m plus n, you see that for the row, it is 60. For the column, it is 70. So what is the sum? The sum is 130. Okay? Oh, sorry. Yes. So for this question, what is the breakthrough? That is, we just check with the last number. Okay? The last number must be a square number and it is related to the number of the rows. Okay, so this is for the section C, and then let's move on to section B. Okay? Yeah, for section B. Well, here let's start from the first one. I think for the first one, it should be easy, right? What is your answer? Yeah, you can just type your answer in the chat box. Which of the following will give a result of an even number? What is it? Okay, good. Well, actually for this question, do I really need to figure out the answer? Like I need to calculate the 784 minus the 455 and then use the vertical form times the 39? Do I really need to do that? No. So for this question, it is asking you for the even and the odd, right? So here, everyone, let's have a look. For 784, it is an even number. Even number minus an odd number, so actually you can still get the odd number. Then odd number times odd number, actually for the part I highlight, it is still an odd number, right? And then odd number plus, here you see that the 44 is an even number. Even number is super powerful in multiplication. Even number multiplied by any number, that is still an even number, okay? So for the first one, you can get the final answer should be odd. Well, for the second one, you see that 11 times 1, odd times odd, the answer is still odd. 33 times 3, answer is still odd. 55 times 5, it is still odd. 77 times 7, it is still odd. And then for the rest part, you can see that for the odd numbers in addition, you can just pair them up. So following this, what can we get? Now you see that just imagine that they are making some friends. Okay, now pair up two odd numbers, you will get even number. Pair up two odd numbers, you will get even numbers. So that is why we choose B, okay? B can give us a result of an even number. Well, for C, also you see that for the even number plus an odd number, the answer is still odd. And for D also, though the number is very big, right? But actually you only need to figure out if there is any odd number or even number. 1, 3, 5 until 2019, all of them are odd numbers. Remember that? Odd times odd. The final answer can only be an odd number, okay? Then for the last part, here you see 73 times 47, okay, that is the odd. So that is why for the final answer, only for B, you can pair up all the odd numbers. Okay, next one for question 12. A large rectangle is made up of 9 identical rectangles whose each length is 10 centimeters long. So after you read the question, please just label, okay? Then pay attention to the overlapped part. Around you see that. If you just add the two lengths together, actually that is equal to 5 width, right? So following this, we can get the length of the width. It should be 20 divided by 5, which is 4 centimeters. Then back to the question, What is perimeter of the large rectangle? Perimeter, that is for the outline. Outline, pay attention everyone, for all these lines in the middle, you can just ignore them, okay? So what is the length of the whole figure? That is just 2 times 10, which is 20 centimeter. And then following this for the width, you see that we just figure out for the width that is 4, right? 4 and then plus 10 and then plus 4. So it is 18 centimeter. So what is perimeter? It should be 20 plus 18, then times 2. The answer is 76. Yeah, is it easy? Okay. Then next one, a singles tournament had 6 players. Each player competed against every opponent only once with no ties. If Helen won 4 games, Anis won 3 games, Janet won 2 games, Kendra won 2 games, and Lara won 2 games. How many games does Monica, the 6th player, win? Well, here you see that the 6 players. What is the meaning of a single tournament? That is altogether, actually there are 15 games only. Okay? Each player competed against every opponent only once. So for example, Helen played with Laren, that is the same as Laren played with Helen. Okay? Altogether, there are 15 games, and then according to the question, we know that some games are played since we know the results. So what is the total number of games played by now? 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, you will get 13. So how many games did Monica win? That is 15 minus 13, so you can get 2. Okay, so this is the answer. Yeah, next one, question 14. A, B, C, D, and E are sitting around a circular table playing cards. A has a fixed seat. If B and D cannot sit next to each other, how many different seating arrangements are possible? Here, everyone, you see that. In this question, there are 2 special conditions. Firstly, A has a fixed seat. In other words, you only need to arrange the seats for B, C, D, and E, right? So how many ways are there? B, C, D, E, 4 people. So here we have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 24 seats altogether. But can we just say, okay, the final answer is 24? No, 24 is even not in the option, right? Well, another special condition is B and D cannot sit next to each other. So what about B and D just sit next to each other? If B and D, they sit next to each other, maybe you can just group B and D, right? And then consider them as one person. So now you see that if they sit together, actually we will get 3 times 2 times 1. But question is, how come I still multiply by 2 here? Because everyone, you see that you need to consider 2 cases. Either B is to the left of D, or D is to the left of B, right? So that is why we have 2, okay? Yeah, so following this here, 3 times 2 times 1, we still need to multiply it by 2. That is, if they sit together, there will be 12 ways. But back to the question, it is about the cannot. So what should I do? You just use the total and then minus the opposite case. So 24 minus 12, you can get the answer is 12. Okay, yeah. Next one for question 15. This question is very interesting. Okay, you try to figure out who is the truth teller and who is the liar. According to the question, there are 5 people, and you see that only 2 of the 5 people told the truth. Well, firstly, maybe we can try to brief their saying, okay? A said, either I hit a bullseye or C did. So here, we just turn that into A or C. Well, B said it wasn't E. So here, not E. Then according to C, how can we translate? How can we turn the long sentence into some short phrase? What is it? Correct. That is just B or D, right? And then what about the D? Yes, correct. That is not B nor D. And then following this? Yes, not C nor A. Well, after you turn the long sentences into some short phrases, and then you will find some conflict, right? So here, as you can see, that C said B or D. D said not B nor D. So actually, there is a conflict. Can you find more conflict? Can you find more? Yes, good. A and E, right? Okay. So as long as you can find the conflict, which means there can only be one truth and one lie between the two people that has conflict. Well, now you see that there are two conflicts, which means there are two truths already. Okay, according to the question, only two truths. So in this way, what about B's saying? B said, not E. So actually, it must be the liar. It must be the liar. Then B is the liar, which means who hit the bullseye? Should be, yes, should be E, okay? Not E is the lying. So what about the truth? Truth is, it's E. Okay? Yeah, so following this, let's move on to the next one. This question is easy, question 16. Okay, so for question 16, what is the answer? Yes, you can type your answer in the chat box. Question 16. Yes, good job. It should be 61. Excellent. The following is a regular pattern of images that are made up of squares and equilateral triangles with the same side length. Some students just asked me, teacher, what is the meaning of equilateral? Now you see, the question already explained. Triangles with the same side length. So for such special triangle, we call it as the equilateral triangle, okay? According to this pattern, how many triangles are there in the 20th figure? Well, firstly, pay attention. Do I need to care about the square? No, you only need to focus on triangle. Okay, so here maybe we'll try to list out a few. In the first pattern, you can see there are 4 small triangles. Then next one, 7 triangles. Then 10 triangles. Then 13 triangles. So can you find the pattern? Correct. So you see that actually it is like an arithmetic sequence, right? So following this, what is the gap? You always plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. So when it comes to 20th figure, actually how many 3 do we need to add up? Correct, it should be 19. So based on 4, so now you see that we just need to add 19 threes. So here the answer is 61. Easy? Yes, 61. Well, following this question 17, to be honest, question 17 is a bit annoying. Okay, let's have a look. There are 5 $1 notes, 5 $2 notes, and 5 $5 notes. How many ways are there to obtain $29 out of these notes? I know that many students just try to list out all the chances, right? But actually here, you don't need to list out all the possibilities. Any faster way? Yeah, maybe let me change the question a bit. Now you see, if I just used all these $1 notes, all these $2 notes, so actually you see that at most, I can only get $15. But what is our target? Our target is 29. That is, even you use all these notes, actually you still cannot 29, which means I must use some $5 notes. So how many $5 notes do I need? If you just get one $5 note, then the most is 20, still not enough. If you just get 2 $5 notes, then the total is 25, still not enough. So actually you see that at least you need to use 3 $5 notes, right? Now, we can just simplify the question. Actually, the question is the same as, how do we get $14 from 5 $1 notes, 5 $2 notes, and 2 $5 notes. Why? Because we confirmed that we must use 3 $5 notes, right? So here, only 2 are left. Well, so following this, actually you see the question is much easier. Now, what is your option? 5 $1, 5 $2, and 2 $5. So following this, you can just list out one by one. How do we split 14 into different ways? Of course, we start from the bigger number. So we start from 5 plus 5, and then plus 2 plus 2. Yes, pay attention. At most, now you only have 2 $5 notes. And then also you can try to split the 2 into $1, right? So then we have 14 equals to 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Then also you can split 2, that is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Then following this, we try to split one of the 5. Split one of 5, so here let's turn that into 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. And then what about also here, I split, so now you see that I get another 2, 2, 1. And then following this, here also you can try to split 2, right? So here let me underline with the different colors. Now you see, firstly we have 2, then you have 1 plus 1. Then you have 2 again, so that is 1 plus 1, and then 1 plus 1, right? Okay, and then for the last part, that is maybe I don't use any $5 notes. I only use the $2 notes. So you see, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, and plus 2, okay? And then 1, 1, 1, 1. So altogether, how many ways you just count? Now, altogether, we have 7 ways. Okay? Well, next question, a group of children divide a pile of apples. If one person was removed, each of them can get 8 apples. What is the meaning of this thing? Well, basically, this question is about the excess and the shortage. That is here, you see? 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, okay? So now, each of them can get 8 apples, but you must remove the last person, okay? And then for the second case, if 2 more people were added, okay, pay attention. 2 more people were added, each of them can get 6 apples. Now, let's turn that into the excess and the shortage form. So for the first question, actually there is a shortage of 8. Why is it shortage? Because only when you cancel the last person, then each person can get 8, right? And then for the second case, well, actually there is an excess. It is an excess of 12. Now you see that I still have 2 more people. 2 more people, which means there are 12 more apples. Well, so following this here, let's have how many children are there. That is actually, you just stop at the dotted line. Okay, you don't need to remove any person, and also you don't need to add any more people. So following this, you see what is the big difference? One is the shortage of 8. The other one is more, 12 more. So here the big difference is 20. How to get a big difference? That is due to the small difference. Well, you see that the difference between 8 and 6, that is 2, right? So following this, what is the number of groups? We have 20 divided by 2. So the answer is 10. Yeah. How many children are there? So actually, you can just regard it as how many circles, okay, how many groups are there? So that is just 10. Okay, following this, this is question 19. Yes, 19. There are some socks with different colors in a bag. 1 white sock, 2 black socks, 4 red socks, 8 yellow socks, 9 blue socks, and 9 green socks. Cindy picks the socks from the bag without looking at them. To guarantee that Cindy gets 5 socks of the same color. Okay, so what is your target here? 5 socks of the same color. She should pick at least how many socks? Well, for this question, it is about the worst case scenario. Well, think about it. If Cindy is very, 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 very unlucky, so what can she get? Firstly, of course, can get 1. what is the 1 for? 1 is for the white sock. Even you just take all the white sock, you still cannot get 5 socks of the same color, right? Because 1 is smaller than 5. Then what is the second one? Yes, plus 2. What is the meaning of 2? That is for the 2 black socks, okay? And again, even Cindy takes out all the white and the black socks. So actually, she still cannot get 5 socks of the same color. Then following this plus 4. For what? 4 red socks, correct. 4 is still smaller than 5. And next one, plus 4. Plus 4, yellow socks. Pay attention, imagine that always remind yourself, okay, Cindy is very, 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 very unlucky. So plus 4, yellow socks. And then following this plus 4, that is 4, blue socks. And then plus 4, that is green socks. Okay, so now everyone think about it. What kind of socks can you see in the back? Yes, only yellow, only blue, and green, right? Well, based on such scenario, you see that no matter what color you take, as long as you take 1 more, you can confirm that Cindy will get 5 socks of the same color. So based on the worst case scenario, as long as you plus 1, you will get a success. Okay, so what is the answer here? What is the answer here? Good job. It should be 20. Okay, she should pick at least 20 socks. Yeah, now let's move on to question 20. Question 20 as shown in quadrilateral ABCD. Angle B and angle D are both right angles. E and F are points on sides AD and BC, respectively. It is known that AE equals to 2, AB equals to 4, CF equals to 5, and CD equals to 9. Find the area of the shaded region. Well, before this question, firstly, I'd like to introduce how do we figure out the area of a triangle. Well, for the area of a triangle, it is from the area of a square or a rectangle. So now you see that the formula is base times height divided by 2. So what is base times height? Well, everyone you see that. If the shape is a square or rectangle, it should be very easy for you, right? Because you will see that here for the area, it is just the length multiplied by the width, right? And how do we figure out the triangle? Now you see. If I just draw a triangle like this. So what about the area of triangle and the area of rectangle? Yes, you will get that it should be half, right? Okay, so now you see that what is a half? Well, let me show you an easier way. Maybe I just cut it into 2 parts. So now you see for the left part, tick, tick. These 2 parts have the same area. And then for the right part, cross, cross. Okay, they have the same area. So following this, when it comes to the triangle, what about 1 tick plus 1 cross? Yeah, that is the half of the rectangle. Good job. And what about this? Oh, that is the same thing, very direct, right? Okay, that is the base times the height. Again, we can just table one side as the base, the other side as the height. Okay, pay attention. This one must be the right angle. And then following this, what about I change it a bit like this? Okay, that is the same thing, right? Again, base times the height and then divided by 2. Well, if you can understand this part, now let's move on to the shaded region. It is very easy. Now you see that here in the middle, I just connect point A and point C. Why? Because in this way, actually, I can try to split the shaded region as 2 parts. So for the first part, what is the area of triangle AFC? Well, AFC, you see that it is a triangle. What is the base? According to the question, I know the base is 5. And then what is the height? Remember that for the height, it is always the right angle. So here, actually, you see, the height should be 4. Then what is the area? It is 5 times 4 divided by 2. Well, for the same idea, actually can figure out the area of triangle AEC. So firstly, I have AE, which is 2. Then I have DC, which is 9. So here I have 2 times 9 divided by 2, that is 9. Now what about the area of the shaded region? You just combine these two parts together. Combine them. So here, add them up. 10 plus 9. The answer is 19. Okay? Okay, now we already finished the section B and C, and we still have a few times. So here, let's move on to your favorite section A, okay? Section A is the most easiest part, right? Okay, let's move on to section A. Yeah. So for the first question, okay, let me check what is your answer. I saw that many students answer first one wrongly. Pay attention. In the odd island, all numbers are odd. All digits are odd, okay? So here you see that after 19, pay attention, the next number here, it is not 21, it should be 31. Why? Because you see that the digit 3 and digit 1, both of them are the odd digits, okay? So following this here, I have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And next one, it should be 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. And then move on, 31, 33, 35, 37, 39, okay? So actually following this, you will see that for every 5 numbers, you can just regard them as a group. So when it comes to the 55th number, actually that is for 11 groups. 11 groups, so you will see the last one should be 199. Yes. Okay, then for the second one is about the time problem. These two people, they agreed to meet at the cinema at 3:55 p.m. Emily left her house at 1:45 p.m. but arrived at the cinema 17 minutes late. How long was Emily's journey? So what is the meaning of 17 minutes late? That is based on 3:55 p.m. This is called the on time, right? On time, and then you need to plus 17 minutes. So that is why actually Emily arrived at 4:12 p.m. So actually the question is asking you from 1:47 p.m. to 4:12 p.m. What is the duration here? Well, firstly, you can check what is the hour part. For the hour part, from 1:47 to 4:47, you will get 3 times 60, which is 180 minutes. But actually, you just stop at the 12 minutes, so here you just minus the extra. That is why we can get the answer 145 minutes. Okay. Yes, next one, this is for question 3. Question 3, how many numbers below are divisible by 3? Divisible by 3, so here we can just check the digit sum. Check the digit sum, so here you will get for 321, the digit sum is 6, and then following this we have 23, and then we have 18, and then 23, 21, and 19, right? So if the digit sum is divisible by 3, you can confirm the number is divisible by 3 as well. Then in this way, we can confirm, okay, the first one, yes, the third one, yes, and then the fifth one, yes. So you see that for this answer, it should be B, okay? There are 3 numbers that are divisible by 3. Next one for question 4. 1 jug of water can fill up 4 glasses completely. 1 pail of water can fill up 2 jugs completely. 4 pails of water can fill up how many glasses completely? So here maybe you can just set the glasses as 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So for the jug, it should be 4. Jug is 4, which means for 1 pail it is 8. But read the question carefully. 4 pails. 4 pails. So here that is 4 times 8. The answer is 32. Yes. Well, next one, question 5. In a certain year, July has 4 Fridays and 5 Saturdays. What day of the week is July 15? Well, 4 Fridays and 5 Saturdays. So what can we get here? Yeah, well, first firstly, you need to be clear about which month is July, okay? I know that some students still not that familiar with the 12th month in a year. July, that is the 7th month. 7th month, how many days are there in July? 31, good job. Okay, so here, let's have a look. Usually for such question, we try to draw out the calendar. Because you will see that no matter which month is it, we can confirm there must have 28 days, which are 4 weeks, right? And then following this, you can just label 29, 30, and 31 below. Then following this, how do we figure out the title? Well, you can see that when it comes to the calendar here of a month, you can try to split it into the 2 parts. For the left part, you see that actually for these days, you will see it for 5 times, right? So firstly, we have one of them in 1 week, and then you can get the extra one. Well, for the red part, you see that for these days, you can only see 4 of them. So following this, according to the question, there are 4 Fridays and 5 Saturdays. And also you can see that the Friday and the Saturday, they are consecutive, which means Friday should be the last column, and the Saturday should be the first column. Okay. So following this, after you can complete the heading of this calendar, then where is July 15th? 15th. Now you see that your figure out the 14 is already at the back. So where's 15? 15 is just the next one. Okay. Well, for the next question in your comic book, DG1 appears just 5 times. So how many pages does the comic book have? For this question, you can just list out one by one. What is the first page that you will see DG1? Of course, page 1, right? And then following this, you see, pay attention. After 1, you will get the 10. And for page 11, you will see DG1 twice. Okay, so here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Yeah. I saw that some students choose E. I think maybe you just forgot 11 has 2-digit 1. Okay. Yeah, this one should be okay, right? Next one. A series of colored lanterns are arranged in the following pattern. Red, 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 green, yellow, 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 red, red, green, green. Red, red, yellow, green, yellow, yellow, yellow. So following this here, you can see that apart from the first red lanterns, for the rest, actually you can just arrange them in order, right? So what colors can you see for one repeating group? It is always red, red, green, yellow, yellow, yellow. Red, red, green, yellow, yellow, yellow. So following this, you see that if I know there are 15 red lanterns, then you minus the first 2, then divide it by 2, because there are always 2 red lanterns in one group, right? So following this, we can get there are 24 groups. Well, following this here, let me show you. For the first part, okay, these 2 are the distractors. And then this is the first group, and this is the last group, which is 24. But actually, the question is asking you at least, that is as long as you can find the 50th red lanterns, you just stop. That is why I draw a dotted line here. You stop here, which means actually for the last group, it is not completed. It is not completed. So can we just say 24 times 3, there are 72 yellow lanterns? Cannot. Why? Because you must subtract the last 3, okay? So to remember that, we also need to minus 3 in the end. Okay, then next one, question 8. How many triangles in the figure below? So when it comes to the triangle, what should we do? You just count it step by step, okay? Count it by size. So here you see that we start from one triangle. How many singular triangles are there? Alright, please type your answer in the chat box. Yeah, how many triangles are there? Is it hard? Yes, good job, only 11, okay? And then following this, how many two triangles? Can you find the 2 triangles? Impossible, okay? So here you see that if you combine 2 triangles, actually what you will get? You will get a parallelogram. Okay, this is not a triangle. So for the next one, actually you need at least 4 triangles to get a bigger one, okay? So now let me show you. for the 4 triangles, here you can see there's 1, right? Can you find more? Here below, 2, and then, yes, the right side, 3, and then, yes, upside down, 4, and then, yes, moving a bit, okay? So here you can see 5. Then for the 4 triangles, you will see it 5. Can we stop here? No. And then you will see that there is a big triangle, okay, which is made up of 9 small triangles, okay? So where is it? Yes, you see that this is the biggest one. But I saw that some students just told me, oh, no, there are 2 big triangles. Are you sure for this one, the upside down, is it a complete triangle? No. Okay, so actually there is only 1. Then following this, what is the total? The total is 17. Yes, okay, the total is 17. Just counting by different size. Yeah. Okay, then next one. Jason is reading a storybook and starting from the 2nd day, he reads 1 more page than the previous day. He has been reading continuously for 9 days and there are still 48 pages left in the book. Given that on the 4th day, he reads 39 pages. Okay, so here everyone you see. 4th day, he could read 39 pages. Then what about the 1st day? Yeah, you just counting backwards, right? 4th day, 39. 3rd day, 38, 37, 36, correct, okay? So actually you see that day 1, 36 pages. And then what on day 9? Yeah, this is just a arithmetic progression, right? Okay, so based on 36, you see that every day you just read 1 more page than the previous day. So here, we just based on 36 and then plus 9 minus 1 times 1. So here the last day, 44 pages. So altogether, you see that for these 9 consecutive days, actually altogether, Jason already finished 360 pages, right? Then can you just be happy, choose C? Cannot, why? Because you will see that there are still 48 pages left in the book, which means based on 360, you still need to plus 48. Okay, so here, look at my panda. Okay, so here the final answer should be 408. Yes. Okay, the last question. Ready? The last question. Good, today we can finish on time. An operator star acts on 2 numbers to give the following outcomes. So 3 star 2, you will get 51. 5 star 3, that is 82. 6 star 1, that is 75. 9 star 4, you can get 135. So what is 7 star 5 equal to? Everyone, can you find any pattern here? Can you find? Yeah, well, actually, I think, yes. Okay, I think you should be very familiar with this question if you prepared for TASMO before, right? Yes, okay. Some students already figured out. Okay, so how do we get a 5? That is the sum of the 2 numbers. 3 plus 2, that is 5. Also, how can we get 8 here? That is 5 plus 3, you can get 8. How can we get 7? Yes, 6 plus 1. And then how can we get 13? Good job. 9 plus 4. Yes. This is a very common question in TASMO, right? Okay, and next one, you see that how can we get the last digit? That is the difference, correct? 3 minus 2, that is 1. And how can we get 2? Yes. 5 minus 3, that is 2. And how can we get 5? 6 minus 1, that is 5. And how can we get 5 here? Yes, 9 minus 4 equals to 5. So following this, let's check what about the 7 star 5. Well, firstly, we just add them together. 7 plus 5, you will get 12. Okay. And then following this, what is the second part? Yes, it is the difference. So 7 minus 5, you will get 2. So what is the answer? Correct. So the answer, 122. Yes, is it hard for you? I think section A should be okay, and section B is the medium one, right? Section C is a challenge, I see. Okay, so actually this is the end, okay? Yes, and actually here for the next week, there is no sample paper, so I will share it there's no live stream, and then I will share the sample paper maybe from the next week, okay, and that will be the last set of our sample paper. Yeah. And also, if you have any question about sample paper 1 or sample paper 2, you can just ask in the group, or you just PM me, okay? Yeah, so this is the end. See you everyone. Bye bye.